So is it a good idea to freelance work for one company, one client, essentially, for your freelance business? First of all, let's talk about the positives of that. If you have an excellent working relationship with that client, that means that your freelancing experience is going to be really positive. And often these one client freelance operations can be based on your previous employer. So maybe you worked for them and then you decided to go freelance. You picked up some consulting work or a similar role that you were doing as an employee, but now as a self-employed freelancer. That's how that relationship can start. And normally that means there's a level of trust and credibility, understanding of the processes, the people involved, and that means that you can have a positive freelance experience. Now, depending on, and everyone has their own goals of why they went freelance. For some people, they want to expand their opportunities, their areas of expertise, their skills, what projects they work on. So the challenge of having a one freelance client business is that you don't necessarily get those opportunities. Now, again, it depends on who that client is, because if you're working across multiple departments in a client, probably a sizable business, you may get some exposure to new opportunities and industries and get that level of innovation. But chances are possibly not quite as much as you would do if you were working with multiple clients. Now, if you have a very strong relationship with one client, as I say, my advice would be to reduce the time on that account to at least give you the opportunity to bring in another client or two. So if we use 80-20, maybe 80% of your time rather than 100 could be dedicated to the main client, and phase in one or two other projects on a less time basis, and see, because you'll then only then will you learn if you're interested in it, if you enjoy it. Even though you perhaps have a great setup with your one freelance client, it might be that by testing out some other clients and work on other projects, you find a level of interest in those that reinvigorates you and gets you excited and gives you those opportunities to learn and develop and progress as well. Now, of course, one of the big challenges around having one freelance client is that you are at their behest. You could say that's similar to being an employee, and in many cases it is. But it's possibly a little bit easier for the client to stop working with you than it would be to stop working with an employee, for example. So you have to be mindful of that, is that if you put all your eggs in one basket and you're working with one freelance client, if for any reason there is a change in how they do things, and that may not always be because you're not delivering a great service, perhaps you are, but there's a change in management or a way they're doing things, or the person who brought you in moves on for one reason. So there's a lot of risk assigned to having one freelance client. So even if, as I say, that relationship is particularly strong, it's well paid, ticks a lot of the boxes for you, you still want to cover yourself by working with other freelance clients. And again, that doesn't have to be a significant amount of time at first, but just introduce 2 or 3 additional projects to your client list in essence. And then, as I say, you may find some enjoyment in those projects and be able to grow them. Really what you want to get to is a bit of a variety of clients. You may have a lead client, but you don't really want to be relying on one freelance client for your freelance business. Try and get some variety, work with a number of them, expand your experience, learning and expertise, and protect yourself from the risk that if any one project was to go down, you would lose all of your freelance income and work.